Yeah, you got to make sure everybody's able to hear you, right?
Exactly.
Welcome to another episode. We really appreciate that you join us today. Yeah, it was a crazy week.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Well, yeah, for you. You were just handling run-of-the-mill tickets.
As usual.
Yes. Yours truly was working on a project. But, you got to get those once in a while.
Yep, sure do.
Yeah, and a project on a deadline, no less. Had to be done by the 31st. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Jennifer, how was your week?
I had a few computers this week.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? You had a dead one, very dead one too,
Yes.
right? Yep. One of those old Inspirons.
Yep.
It had seen better days, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But you were able to get the guy's information back, weren't you?
Yep, I was.
Awesome. Okay. We like that. We absolutely detest having information loss. That's one of our least favorite things and biggest pet peeves. And you can prevent that. You can prevent it with backup. And that's also included in our residential protection plan that you sold a lot of those this week and a lot of renewals.
We sure did. Yeah, people are signing up for it. And like I said, people who are on it, when their contract comes up for renewal, they've been renewing. And then we've had some new people sign up that have come in that, they're just looking for a little bit of help. And, that little bit of help turns into a full year of service. So.
Yeah, that's right. And it includes backup. And so without any further ado, I think we're just going to get that little 15-second ad out of the way, and we'll see you in about 15 seconds. The Residential Protection Plan by HonorBound IT is the best support and service for home computer users. You get top-notch antivirus, backup, and remote support. Plus, if you need in-store service, it's free. Visit us at 109 Norris Avenue, McCook, or call 877-686-6642. Your digital peace of mind starts here. Welcome back. So yeah, we had the event of this week was Yahoo and Google changed their email requirements, and actually I think was a good thing because the spammers are out there, and particularly the lowlifes of the lowest of the lowlifes of the spammers. They don't really care about email security very much at all. So, they required certain things to be done as far as how you configure your email service so that your email won't get rejected by Yahoo or Google. And so that was my project for, 3 days? And I think the last one I got finished just this morning, but it was a fine how do you do. And, one of the things that was required is for me to actually change some of the registration records for those email accounts. So like they were for companies that had like a custom domain, like ours is honorboundit.com, for instance. And you had to have two kinds of records. One of them we already had for all of our customers called an SPF record. And basically what that does is it just says, hey, this email is expected to come from this service. Does that pass or does it fail? And the next record is a little bit different. And it has to do with the actual email itself. And what it does is it puts a special signature on that email that says, when I send this email and you receive it, and the signature is the same, that this email hasn't been messed with since it's gone from one place to the other. So I sent you a mail to your email address. it didn't get scrambled. Somebody didn't mess with it in the middle. And then the third record, which was required, was the pass fail. And what happens when either one of those two tests pass or fail? Did it come from the right place? Has it been screwed with? Yes or no? What do I do with it? Do I quarantine it? Do I do nothing? Or do I reject it? Do I say, no, I'm not going to take your email because it doesn't pass those two security tests? And that was a fine how do you do, because every time you had to make a record for it, you had to wait for the internet to tell itself. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible and not boring to tell everyone that, hey, this is the appropriate record for, say, for instance, honorboundit.com. I have this SPF record, and every domain knows that this is that correct record. So there's a waiting period in between each one. So you have to make the record, wait, make the next record, wait, because you have to do all the checks to make sure they went through. And then, of course, there's always that one that will not behave. And I had one that would not behave. What did I have, like 10, 12 to do, I think, this week? And the 12th one there was something stupid going on wrong with the Microsoft 365 tenant. And so I had to get our vendor involved, and then they got Microsoft involved, and we did a whole lot of back and forth and a whole lot more waiting and nervousness because it had to be done by the first. And it really only affects people that have sent out a lot of mail, but it all, by doing what I did, it makes sure that that people aren't going to be having their email spoofed. You can't fake out being me, for lack of a better term. So it was a huge security thing that had to be dealt with. And, it's done now. And now we do it automatically for everybody as they come on. So, yeah. Should have done it a while back, but I didn't know it was going to be a requirement.
Well, everybody else's emails was working too, so.
That's right. Yeah, nobody was complaining of their email. Well, we did have a couple that were not passing.
Yep.
Because it's not just Google and Yahoo that are tightening down the belts. There are a lot of other people who maybe have their own email server that are saying, hey, listen, if you don't have these records, I'm not taking your mail. It's sorry, you can't prove who you are or where you came from. That's just security. You just don't let strangers into your house, right? Not if you're normal. Are you normal, Keith?
Yes, I'm normal.
Jennifer, are you normal?
Yep.
Yeah, me too. We don't knowingly let strangers in the house. And neither should you. So, yeah, what else do we have going, dude?
Well, we had, people bring their computers in, and like you said, computers act up. And we get a lot of people come in and say they think they did something wrong. And that's not always the case, believe it or not, because computers, they just wig out sometimes. And I don't have all the explanations on why things happen. A lot of times, when you're turning your computer off and you try to turn it back on and something strange happened, it could be related to an update. Maybe the update failed or got corrupted while it was installing. I have seen that one before, but there are several reasons that computers go wrong, and I'm not the person that built the computer. I don't have an engineering degree by any means or no computer science degree. So I can't tell you all the reasons why things happen, but we can fix them. And that's what we do best is we, people bring in their computers and they think there's something wrong with them. We check them in, we do our service, run our tests, do our scans, all that stuff. And then we get your computer back to you and hopefully it's working back to normal before the problem occurred when you brought it in. So, one we had this week was a person brought their computer in, and what happened was they don't use their computer very much. So, for them, seeing this was kind of odd. They turn their computer on one day and they go to log into their computer, but there's no login password. They don't have to type their password in. And so that kind of threw them off a little bit, and they didn't know what to do. So they gave us a call, brought it in. We actually repaired the corrupted files and system and was able to fix that problem so that the login screen worked properly where they went to log in and their password was there. They had to type their password in to get to their desktop. So we were able to fix that for them. And, that's just one of the many things that we do when people bring their computers into us. And Jennifer takes care of a lot of the benchwork computers and is able to, scan for viruses and malware. And if that's on there, she has a tool to remove that stuff and get it off of your computer. So that way your computer's not acting slow or acting weird when you get it back. Sometimes people bring that in and, by the off chance, maybe they downloaded something or they clicked something and they didn't know that there was something else going on with it. And that happens all the time when, you're trying to download something, especially if you try to download something that's free. Sometimes there's hitchhikers on there that you don't see. They kind of hide them. And it's
Silly checkbox.
It's a checkbox or it's something in the terms and service that nobody ever reads. And so it's just one of those things that, if your computer starts acting up, usually we try to narrow it down to when that started happening. Oh, it's after you did this. Okay, so maybe this specific service that you may have clicked on may have had some other things going wrong with it. And we're able to fix those, go back and restore data and things like that. So, it's
not your fault.
It's not always your fault. We're able to fix those things up pretty quickly. And to be fair, sometimes it might be your fault, but it's not always
Not
your
always,
fault.
no. No, and it could be something as stupid as like the power going out in your house, your computer shutting down like quickly, and not shutting down properly, or there's just so many things that can happen. Brownout, where your electricity goes down a little bit lower. It's actually harder on computers. Did you know brownouts are worse for your computer than spikes?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, and we got some work walked through the door today too, didn't we?
A little bit of work, yeah. Network.
Yeah, another network project. I love those. You like those?
Yeah, they're not too bad.
They're kind of fun.
It's always good to help people out, especially when they're having problems with their connectivity and things like that inside their buildings. Out here, metal buildings are very common.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to get those people where they're, Wi-Fi. Everybody's using Wi-Fi these days, so the Wi-Fi has to work. Doesn't matter if you're in a doctor's office waiting room. The Wi-Fi's got to work there. If you're at a restaurant, Wi-Fi's got to work there. If you're inside a metal workshop, the Wi-Fi's got to work no matter where you are these days. It's just the way the world is, I think.
It is an expected thing, isn't it?
It sure is. And when it doesn't work or it's slow or it gets constantly disconnected, there's, that's a problem.
It's around here, it's like, let's be honest, like in most cases, there's one of two things that really goes wrong. The first is you're in a metal building and, you're trying to run signal through a metal wall. That never works. It's kind of like Faraday cage kind of deal. Or secondly, we have very old buildings that are constructed with extremely thick brick or stone walls, mostly brick around these parts. And, it's radial line of sight is how that works. If you don't have not necessarily physical, like light line of sight, but if you don't have radial line of sight, you're going to have problems. Now, in some cases, like a wall that has, drywall and, studs, your radio signals are going to go through that quite a bit easier until you have like 2 or 3 walls in between. And this is kind of what we do every day when we're trying to fix people's networks as far as the Wi-Fi goes, is making sure that those devices are placed in the correct locations. And I will call you back. And that there is enough signal for the number of devices that are connecting, because like your access points can only take so many connections at once. Now, there are different grades of access points, and we also take that into consideration. High density, meaning that there's like a ton of devices that are going to have to connect to that access point, versus low density, like maybe the ones that you might have in your living room would be low density because you might have 4 or 5 devices connecting to it. But if you've got 50 or 100 or 75 or whatever, you have to account for that. And, that's why we love doing these networking projects, because we're able to solve those problems. That's something that we do every day, all day, right? And we make them pretty. We don't have dangly wires everywhere. All that neat stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah, happy days. And what happened this week? Well, actually, it wasn't just this week. Tax season is in full swing, right?
It is, yes.
What happens when tax season happens?
Well, people will get their 1099s and take it to their CPA or wherever they go to get their taxes done. Maybe they do it themselves. And
Yep, and their W-2s and stuff.
yeah,
Yep, they have to be done on a deadline. And this week was a pretty tough week for our CPA clients. It's not that, the stuff isn't working properly, because it is. It's just the sheer volume of work that they have to do, and the stress, of having that deadline. It's like, I was talking to one of my accountants today, and they said, well, you've like when 1099s are done, you feel like you've gone through a whole tax season, but it's just begun. So if you're one of those accountants that's out there and your stuff just needs to work for you and it's not, or you think it could be working better for you so that you can get more done in less time, give us a call. We're here to help you. We want you to be successful in your tax season, and we're happy to help you whatever way we can, right?
exactly.
All right. Well, what we got now? Well, we didn't have a lot to talk about this week, did we?
Nope, we've just been kind of nose to the grindstone. We do got a couple other things coming up, like our Lunch and Learn we're doing
Yes,
for the
in
Chamber
North
of
Platte.
Commerce in North Platte. That's coming up next Thursday.
Yep.
If
Time
you're in
management.
the North Platte area, I don't know if they're still taking people to register, but if they are, check out the North Platte area Chamber of Commerce webpage, see if there's a spot open, and we'll be
that's
doing our
for the
time
young
management.
professionals group, And,
Oh, so they probably have a
yeah, well, they have YPG, but you never know.
Never know.
I'm sure that if you ask, it's a good seminar. I mean, we've had nothing but 5 stars on it. So if that's something that you want to do, or if you're in North Platte and you're part of YPG, make sure you show up. We'd love to meet you. Yeah. So I guess it's time for the cat pick of the week, right?
Oh, we got a cat.
Yes. And we had Jewel Bug last week, and this is Jewel Bug again. She's our little feral cat. She lives at the top of a cat tree, and we can scratch her up there, but she's kind of a little bit skittish. She doesn't come to you. She doesn't sit in your lap or anything, but she loves us from afar. And she lets me pet her just before I give her treats in the morning. But yeah, feral cats need love too. But they just don't like to be hugged and squeezed at all. So we don't. All right. I guess because we didn't have a lot of content this week, we're just going to kind of dance our way out of here, right, dude?
Oh, is it that time?
It's our time.
Hit the button.
All right. Hey, Mike, if you were there, thanks for joining us. Hope you're feeling better. Hey, it's a happy weekend time. Happy weekend time.
Oh, yeah, every weekend's a happy weekend.
What do you got going on?
Got basketball again this weekend. It's kids' basketball season, so a few more weeks of that, and then
Dad and son basketball weekend.
exactly.
Yeah,
Do another one of those.
that's right. What do you got going on, Jen?
I have nothing going on this weekend.
Absolutely nothing. Well, I got to go to Kearney and for the morning, and then maybe I might film something in the afternoon. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on how I feel to get up early to go to Kearney.
It could be a good event.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate that you did, and we hope we get to see you again next week.